This is the last session for this module, so pay attention. I'd like you all to get motivated. Now, into completing your tender documents accurately. This section is filled with a lot of point form information to remember. To start off, before submitting tender documents, you must know the following. Your tender is a professionally presented document. It gives the impression that you are professional, reliable, and efficient. Ensure documents are in the correct format. Allow sufficient time to complete the documents and submit on time. Remember that no fax, telephonic, or electronic mail tender submissions will be allowed. Ensure that the place where the tenders must be submitted is known well in advance. Thereafter, you must carry out checks and balances on the costing and the input into the documents. You will have to ensure all costs must be taken into account. All prices must be VAT inclusive. The tender price must include a profit. It is important that tender prices are calculated properly, as any changes to the tender price after the closing date will result in the tender being disqualified or the tender incurring losses. Fill in and sign all forms in ink. Ensure that you address the documents correctly as stipulated in the tender documents. Supply the correct address for correspondence. State clearly where requested that you are authorized to offer the tender and give proof of such authority. Seal the package or envelope and ensure that you clearly mark the tender number, the closing date, and time on the outside. Don't fall behind people. You must also adhere to dates and times of submitting tenders. It is important to have a clear understanding of the following concerning dates and times. Closing time means the date and the hour specified in the tender documents for the receipt of tenders. Timelines with respect to supplies. With respect to services, timelines means performance at the time necessary for the end user's purpose. It is very important to adhere to dates and times. If they have not adhered to it, it will lead to disqualification of the tender. Example of dates and times specified in a tender document mean that factors regarding dates and times are underlined. You need to know the rules of engagement in the tender process. As stipulated, applicants must adhere to this at all times. Failure to do so will result in disqualification from the tender process. The following rules of engagement will apply. The completed tender document must be returned to SARS by no later than 11 a.m. on a specific date. The tender documentation must be sealed in an envelope on which the following information is clearly indicated. Include the name and address of the tenderer, the tender number, and the closing date. Unfortunately, sometimes you may just be unsuccessful in procuring the tender. In this case, you may ask for feedback from the tender evaluation team or business. They have to provide you with feedback if you have requested this within 15 days. The request will have to be in writing. You can use these tactics. Price negotiation. In negotiation, there are many tactics that you may meet or use, which are a better offer. When the other person makes an offer, say that you have already received a better offer from somebody else. The better than that tactic. When the other person makes an offer, say you will do it better than that. The cards on the table. Tell the other side exactly what you want or give them information that they did not know before. Deadlines. Set a deadline by which the other person has to decide or act. Make it clear that this is an absolute time by which they must do what you want them to do. And expanding the pie. Change the frame of the negotiation from a zero win-lose game to a win-win scenario where both sides can benefit more by working together on mutual benefits. Change the frame of the negotiation from a zero-sum win-lose game to a win-win scenario where both sides can benefit more by working together on mutual benefits. Finally, I need you all to know the difference between direct costs and indirect costs. Direct costs can be traced directly to a cost objective, such as a product or a department. In other words, direct costs do not have to be allocated to a product, department, or other cost object. Indirect costs are business expenses that are not directly related to a particular product or function within the general operation. Costs of this type tend to have an impact on the overall operation of the business, making it very difficult to charge the cost to a specific department or associate them with one function. Costs of this type are sometimes referred to as overhead, a term that helps to describe the broad application of these costs. Looking forward to everyone doing your best. Well done, people.